y'all, it's Gretchen and welcome back to my channel. All right, today's video is a long time coming and that is part 5 to picking my subscribers' next piercing. I love doing this type of video, but I do like to space each one out just because it takes a long time to put this type of video together. May not seem like it, but it takes a while. So for anyone that is new, this is a series that I've started where I ask on Instagram as well as on my Discord subscribers to send me pictures of their ears only, and I will pick their next piercing based on what they have. Again, I do really enjoy doing this video. It just takes a long time to edit, so that's why I spaced them out. There were a lot of submissions for this video. So this is gonna be pretty quick going through each one. I'm just gonna go with my gut instinct because there's over 20. And I do apologize if you don't see your submission here. It's most likely because I couldn't open it. There's a very specific way that you have to submit a photo on Instagram in order for me to see it. And some people unfortunately didn't follow the directions and so I couldn't see your photo. And I'm really sorry about that. This is also something that if you want to be anonymous for, you can. You just have to tell me, otherwise I'm going to assume that you don't want to be anonymous. All right, let's go ahead and get started. First up, we have Anna, who sent a picture of both ears. Currently, they just have 2 lobe piercings in both ears. So based on the fact that Anna doesn't have too many ear piercings, I am going to have to say a conch piercing in either ear. I think there's a good space in there, and the conch piercing is just my favorite ear piercing. Next up, we have Ambo Pink Fairy. They sent in a picture of their left ear, and right now they just have 3 lobe piercings. And honestly, based on the anatomy, I would have to go with a Dave dog because there is a nice space in there. It's really weird when I start analyzing people's like ear anatomy or just like looking at it in detail, but there's a good space in there to get that piercing. So I'd say a Dave dog. Next is JJ Rubix. They sent in a picture of one ear. It's kind of hard to tell if it's left or right because sometimes the camera will flip it. But again, another person who just has 3 lobe piercings in their ear. And I'm gonna say a forward helix based on the ear structure. I'd say a forward helix. Save room for more than one forward helix though, because you do have space for it, but that's what I would suggest. I just realized I'm going between like people's like usernames and their display names, so I apologize if I confuse anyone. I'm just going by what stands out to me first. So next we have Bella, who sent in a picture of both ears. They have double lobes on both and then a helix on their right one, so obviously I want to go to the left, and I'm gonna go say a conch. Because on one ear you have the helix up top, I kind of want something down low a little bit, so I would suggest a conch. Next we have Seong, and they have a picture of both ears. They have a number of piercings. It does look like double lobe on both, then a conch and rook on one, and a daith, doth, and a mid helix on the other. Based on the angle, it's a little hard to tell. I'd say a forward helix on your left ear. Next up, we have Linda, who sent in a picture of both ears. Right ear has a forward helix and a conch as well as a triple lobe, and then the left ear has a quadruple lobe and a flat. Now they say that their piercer says they don't have the anatomy for a daith, but it kind of looks like they do. I don't know, that would have been my recommendation, would be a daith over on the ear with the flat. So on the left ear, I would recommend a daith. If you ever wonder if you do have the anatomy for something and one person tells you no, definitely get a second opinion, because I was told by one person that I didn't have the anatomy for a tragus piercing, but I have both my tragus done, and they've been great. So definitely always get a second opinion if you truly just are curious. Next up is Sarah, and they sent in a picture of both ears, and they have quite a few piercings. So they did mention how they plan on getting a tragus on their left ear. They have one on their right, so like me, they're planning to have both done. Based on what Sarah has, they have quite a bit. I'm actually gonna go a little outside the box on this and say an anti-tragus on the right ear. And the only reason why I'm saying the right over the left is because the left ear's like picture is a little bit at a downward angle, so it's kind of hard to see the space in. But looking at the right ear, which is straight on, it looks like there would be good spacing for that. So I'm gonna go outside the box a little bit there and say an anti-tragus on your right ear. Next up we have Sammy. They sent a picture of both ears. They did say they don't want any more lobe piercings, and they do have triple lobe on right side and double lobe on left. They also have a rook as well as a flat and a tragus. So I'm going to look at the one that has the rook. There's like less over there. I'm going to recommend a conch because conch is very dear to my heart. Next up is Chloe. They sent a picture of both ears. Another ear that is nicely decorated already. So it does seem like the right one has more than the left. They do say that they want them both to be nicely decorated, and so they're working on one ear before the other one, which is pretty smart. Pretty smart. Get one ear done, and then that way you don't have to worry about if you're a side sleeper. That's pretty smart. But going off of like how I usually do this, I'm obviously gonna look at the left ear because it looks like it has less, so use this for the future if you want. On the left ear, I would recommend a flat. I absolutely love flat piercings, especially if you can like do multiples and like do different size gems. I think on your left ear, you need a flat somewhere, maybe even two. Next up is from Anonymous, and they sent in a picture of their right ear. Looks like they just have one lobe piercing and one helix piercing. I feel like there needs to be something toward the inner part of the ear, so I am gonna recommend a tragus. Next, we have Laura sent in a picture of both ears. Right ear has a conch and two lobe piercings. Left ear has a tragus, a rook, and one lobe piercing. So I'm gonna look at the right ear just because I really want something up top for you, and I'm going to suggest a forward helix. Next, we have Lillian sent in a picture of both ears. The right ear has helix piercing as well as two lobes, and then the left ear has 3 lobe piercing. So I'm going to look at the left ear just because I want you to have a cartilage piercing of some kind. Based on your anatomy, I'm gonna give 2 recommendations because I always do this when I recommend an industrial. So shocker, I'm gonna recommend an industrial piercing for your left ear, but sometimes people don't want industrials. It's just a lot to deal with. Whenever I recommend industrial, I try to give a backup one. My initial one is industrial, but my second alternative option for you would be a daith. Next up, we have Anonymous. They sent in a picture of both ears. Looks like both ears are pretty symmetrical. I'm not sure if they want to keep with symmetry or not, but I would recommend a forward helix on either ear. Next up, I'm super excited about this because she's my best friend, but Cam sent in a picture of both ears. And Cam, I'm gonna have to recommend on your left ear a conch. Why have you not gotten my favorite ear piercing yet? I will go with you to get it done, but seriously, you need a conch piercing. And I think on your left ear would be the best. Seriously, hit me up, I'll go with you. Next, we have Yeba who sent in a picture. They say that they have one forward helix on their right ear and their lobes pierced, otherwise no other ear piercings. So based on that, I kind of want to go with just a mid helix. Not just a regular old helix, but I think a mid helix would look really good. Next, we have Dorian who sent in a picture of both ears. And looking at your ears, I definitely want to focus on the right ear, and I'd say a rook. I think you need a rook. You definitely need something to start with up top. I'd go for a rook. Next, we have St. Bernard who sent a picture of both ears. The right ear has 3 lobe piercings stretched. The left ear has 3 lobe piercings stretched, as well as a rook, so I want to look at the right ear, and I'm gonna recommend a flat. I think on your right ear, a flat would look good. Next, we have Mertako. They sent a picture of both ears, and I love just how dainty like the jewelry selections are. Absolutely love that. And I would recommend for your left ear a daith. Next, we have Maggie who sent in a picture of one ear. They have, it looks like 2 or 3 lobe piercings, a helix piercing, and a rook piercing. Based on this picture, I would say a conch piercing. Next, we have Kezi who sent in a picture of both ears, who says that they do have a faux rook piercing on the ear with the conch, but it's kind of hard to see in the photo. So based on this, the one that has the double helix as well as the conch, I would recommend a forward helix. The main reason why I'm recommending that is just because of the angle of the photo. It's kind of hard to get a good glimpse of like the tragus as well as other parts, but I can see the forward helix area, and I think that would work well for you. Next, we have Joe Beans who sent in a picture of both ears. They do like the asymmetrical look. The second photo is a little hard to see, but I'm kind of inclined to recommend a rook piercing for that one. Just from what I can see, it is a little bit like off to the front, so it's a little bit more difficult to see. I think a rook would work there. Next is Nomi Gnome. Send a picture of both ears. They say that they think their left ear is pretty much done, but they want their right ear to have something, so let's look at that. Definitely agree, and I'm gonna recommend a forward helix. Y'all ever notice that I have a trend with each of these videos? There always seems to be one person that I recommend the most, and I think this time it's the forward helix, but that's what I'd recommend. Next, we have the Flying Vespa. They sent in a picture of both ears, and I definitely want to focus on their left ear because there's a little less there, and I'm gonna have to recommend a rook. I think a rook would look really nice there. Next, we have Alma, who sent in a picture of both ears, and since their right ear has less on it, I'm gonna focus on that one and recommend a conch. And our last submission is from Elizabeth. Sent in a picture of both ears. And I'm gonna focus on the ear that just has 3 lobe piercings. There's the other one that has a conch and a rook. So I want to focus on the one that just has 3 lobe piercings, and I'm gonna recommend a tragus. Thank you to everyone so much for submitting photos for this type of video. Again, I do love doing this video. It just takes a long time, so that's why there's a little bit of gap between these videos. If you are interested in participating in part 6, which will come out in early part of 2022, be sure to follow me on Instagram or join my Discord, because those are gonna be the 2 places where I get the photos from. And again, if you didn't see your photo this time, it's because I couldn't view your photo, so I'm really sorry about that. Make sure you're following the instructions that I leave on the stories so that I can see those photos. Special thank you to my patrons. You can help support the channel on Patreon while having access to videos early, viewing patron-only content, and more. But that is it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a big ol' thumbs up. Go on down there and hit that subscribe button, wherever it may be, because I don't know. Even though I do, this is just my shtick now. Also hit that notification bell in case you want to know when I upload, and in case YouTube wants to let you know when I upload, because I would really appreciate it. And until next time, bye all.